Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished lecturers, presenters, and fellow participants. Welcome to our academic seminar on democracy and electoral governance, ensuring integrity, transparency, and participation. My name is Rolina Winita, and three last digits number is 024. And it is my honor to serve as the moderator for today's discussion. In an era where democratic system face increasing pressures from political polarization, digital misinformation, and declining public trust, our topic becomes not only relevant but essential, understanding how electoral governance can uphold integrity, promote transparency, and strengthen public participation is crucial for ensuring that democratic institutions remain accountable and resilient. Today's session is designed to help us examine this issue through a rigorous academic lens, supported by theory, empirical evidence, and real-world cases. We will explore how elections are administered, what challenges emerge in modern democracies, and how citizens' governance an institution can work together to protect the legitimacy of democratic process. Before we begin, allow me to briefly introduce the structure of our seminar. Point one presentation session delivered by our two presenters and two question and answer session facilitated by two questions, and point three moderator summary capturing key insight, and last fourth point closing remarks concluding the season. And I would also like to introduce today's team. Presenter one is Siti Mailisa. Presenter two is Henik Wahyu Kurniawati. Questioner one is Kustiani Dewi. Questioner two is Naila Anggraini. Thank you all for your participation and dedication in preparing this academic seminar. With the with with that, we will now proceed to the presentation season. To our presenters, the floor is yours.
Good morning everyone. My name is Siti Mailisa and thank you for joining me today. I want to start by appreciating something simple yet meaningful, like your time and your willingness to be here. In a world filled with notification, deadlines, and endless responsibilities, choosing to sit in a room and reflect on democracy is not just admirable, it is powerful. Today, I want to take you on a journey, not a journey through abstract theories, not a journey filled with numbers, charts, or legal jargon, but a journey that brings democracy back to the human level, the level where it matters most. When I was preparing this talk, a memory kept coming back to me. Years ago, during election morning, I woke up past a police station just as the sun was rising. There was a wall. There was a long line, like teenagers voting for the first time, young parents carrying children, workers still wearing uniforms, and even elderly people moving slowly towards the entrance. But what struck me most was an elderly woman, perhaps in her 80s, who walked with a cane. Her dog held her arm tightly. Each step was deliberate, slow, and almost painful. And yet she smiled. When they reached the front, the election officer politely asked, Grandma, do you need any help? The old woman laughed gently and said, It's okay. What matters is that I came. My vote still counts. Something about that moment captured the soul of democracy. Democracy is not something written only in constitution or debated in parliament house. Democracy lives in the determination or ordinary citizen. It breathes in the belief that their voice matters, even if they have to walk slowly, one step at a time. But today, ladies and uh, ladies and gentlemen, we must acknowledge that belief is being tested. Around the world, including here in Indonesia, election, the central pillar of democracy, are facing new pressures. Pressures that shake confidence, pressures that raise questions, pressures that make people wonder: Is my vote really counted? Is the system truly fair? Are we still in control, or has someone else taken the wheel? This question brings us to the very heart of today's seminar. So, to begin our discussion, let's start with our first major topic: election as the core of democratic legitimacy. Every democratic system, no matter how different in design, rests on one fundamental principle like the consistent of the governed and election are the mechanism through which that consent is expressed. Elections are often called the heartbeat of democracy, and it's true. Just like the human heart pumps life to the body, election pump legitimacy into democratic institution. But what happened when the heart began weaken? In many countries today, public trust in election decreasing, and this trust does not appear suddenly. It grows silently. It grows so slowly. It grows when people feel something is not quite right. Let's look at the main reason why. Firstly, disinformation spread faster than truth. We now live in a digital environment where information moves faster than thought. A rumor can spread to millions in minutes. Manipulated video can shape opinions before anyone checks the facts. And the tragic part is this: false news spreads six times faster than real news. In election season, this becomes dangerous. We are no longer debating policies, but we are debating lies. Uh, and secondly, manipulation and interference. Some forms of manipulation are visible, like vote buying, intimidation, and misuse of state resource, but others are invisible. Foreign influence through social media, targeted psychological ads, algorithmic manipulation, selective amplification of extreme content. Does disrupt the fairness of election quietly, like terminus inside a wooden pillar. And thirdly, we are overburdened institution. Election bodies are expected to deliver perfection in an imperfect world, but manifest challenges like limited funding, political interference, outdated system, and overwhelming logistics. When institutions struggle, trust suffers like the silent erosion of truth. This is the real issues. People still fought. This is the real issues. People still fought, but inside they feel in an uncertain. They question outcomes, they suspect manipulation, they lose faith, and once that internal trust breaks, rebuilding it becomes extremely difficult. Now that we have explored the foundational crisis, now let's move on to discuss the key concept that will guide our understanding of electoral governance. Next, okay. Key concept and definition. To fully understand electoral governance, we must master four essential pillars. Firstly, like electoral integrity, election free from manipulation. Electoral integrity is like the moral backbone of democracy. If this backbone breaks, everything collapses. Integrity requests like reliable voter lists, neutral election officers, fair campaigning, secure vote counting, timely and accurate result, no fraud and no intimidation. Think of integrity like a chain. If even one link breaks, the entire chain loses sense. Secondly, transparency. People trust what they can see. Transparency is not just about information, it is about visibility, accountability, and openness. When people can see the process, they are more likely to believe in the result. Transparency involves like clear reporting of campaign funds, open access to voter data procedures, public monitoring of vote counting, and timely clarification of incident or errors. Without transparency, suspicion fills the silence. And thirdly, political participation, like democracy beyond voting day. Many assume democracy begins and ends at the ballot box, but that is only the surface. Participation includes like expressing opinions, joining discussion, monitoring election, volunteering in political campaign, advocating for reforms, and engaging in civic education. When citizens participate, democracy becomes vibrant. When citizens disengage, democracy becomes vulnerable. And And fourthly, electoral governance, the system behind everything. Governance is the engine room of election. We rarely see it, but it determines everything. Strong governance means clear rules, consistent enforcement, independent bodies, neutral officers, and credible oversight. Weak governance means like confusion, inconsistency, politis- politicization, and injustice. Governance transform principle into practice. Now that we've defined this concept, now let's broaden our view and examine the global context where these issues are unfolding. Next slide. Okay. Global context, democracy under pressures. Around the world, democracies are under stress, including long-established ones. let's explore the global trends that influence electoral governance. Firstly, declining quality of election worldwide. Several signs indicate democratic decline, misuse of state resources during campaigns, laws changed suddenly to benefit incumbents, weakened election commissions, restriction on media freedom, and unfair campaign environments. Even countries once seen as models of democracy now face manipulated primaries, gerrymandering, voter suppressions, and political violence. Democratic decline is often stable, like it's grows slowly and unnoticed. Secondly, a rising disinformation in polarization. Disinformation feeds hatred, polarization destroys unity. When people no longer share the same facts, they cannot share the same vision for their country. Election turn into battles of identity rather than debates on policy. This leads to a world where fathers distrust one another's political opponents are treated like enemies. The losing side refuses to accept result. Polarization is not a difference of ideas; it is a breakdown of relationship. And thirdly, delegitimation by political elites. One of the most dangerous trends is when political elites themselves weaken trust. When the candidates, our leaders, shout like this election was stolen, results are manipulated without evidence. They harm democracy more than any technical mistake ever could. Public trust collapse not from fraud but from rhetoric. Fourthly, new technologies like AI, deepfakes, and data manipulation. Technology brings both progress and danger. AI can create fake videos, fake statement, fake scandal. By the time fact checkers respond, the damage is done. We enter a world where people may not believe even a real evidence because the line between truth and fabrication blurs. This is a new battlefield of democracy. Then lastly, systemic and cross-national challenges. Election interference techniques are shared across borders. A strategy used in one country quickly appears in another's. This creates a global ecosystem of disinformation networks, foreign propaganda, coordinated manipulation, shared playbooks for undermining election. Democracy is facing a global storm, and no country is fully safe. Now that we have seen global threats, now let's back home to Indonesia and the 2024 election. Next slide. Okay. Indonesian current situation, the 2024 election. Indonesia conducts one of the largest, most complex election on earth. Over 200 million eligible voters, thousands of islands, millions of ballots, hundreds of thousands of polling stations, logistic the recursive trucks, motorcycle, and even horse. And yet, Indonesia delivers election every 5 years. It is an extraordinary achievement, but extraordinary does not mean perfect. Let's break down some of the major issues like
2024 a mix of progress and challenges. Indonesia has a stable electoral schedule, active citizen participation, vibrant political competition, establishes institutions, but challenges persist, including like logistic error, inconsistent training, structural vulnerabilities, public distrust, and digital misinformation. Election works, but the cracks are visible. Secondly, KPU, voters list error and logistical delays. Reassuring issues included duplicate registration, missing names, outdated data, and late delivery of materials. In a country with such a large population, even a small percentage of errors mean millions affected. A voter who cannot find their name may think it is incompetence or manipulation. Trust weakens. And thirdly, Bawaslu, thousands of violation and reports. Reports included like vote buying, intimidation, pressure on civil servant, procedural mistakes, and misuse of social assistance. Vote buying remains a persistent trend, like normalizing manipulating and reducing election to transaction. Intimidation refers in some regions like democracy must never operate under fear. The volume of reports indicates systemic problem, not isolated incidents. And fourthly, campaign finance transparency, a weak point. Campaign finance remains one of the least transparent aspects of election. Issues include like undisclosed donors, incomplete financial reports, lack of real-time transparency, weak enforcement, and minimal sanction. When money becomes invisible, power becomes uncountable. And fifthly, and lastly, structural weakness behind the problems. Some deeper causes include like uneven institutional capacity, outdated voter database system, a limited digital integration, inconsistent training for TPS officers, political pressures at local levels. The structural weakness are the roots, like the surface problem are only the leaves. Now that we've explored the situation, now let's move on discuss why all of this matters, like trust, legitimacy, and futurist reforms. Elections are not simply about choosing leaders, they are about renewing legitimacy. If people distrust election, then leaders lack moral authority, institution weaken, polarization intensifies, and democracy becomes fragile. Trust is the oxygen of democracy. Without it, the system suffocates. But the future is not hopeless. Indonesia can strengthen enforcement, modernize voter data, ensure transparent campaign finance, expand civic education, whistleblowers, improve training of officials, and increase accountability. Democracy can be repaired as we reach the end of woman I met years ago. She could barely walk. She was tired, but she came to vote because she believed her voice mattered. The question for us today is simple.
Do we still believe? Do we still believe in the power of our vote? Do we still believe in the promise of democracy? Do we still believe that integrity, transparency, and participation matters? The future of democracy is not determined by politicians. It is not determined by institution. It is determined by us, the citizen. Democracy is not a machine that runs on its own. It is a garden that must be tended, nurtured, and protected. If neglected, weeds will grow, but if cared for, it will flourish. You're present today, so you care, and as long as people care, democracy will survive. Maybe that's all for today. Thank you for your commitment, and thank you for believing in the power of democracy.
Okay, next slide. Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you. Theoretical and analytical frameworks. One, democratic legitimacy theory. Democratic legitimacy theory emphasizes that the credibility of an election determines whether citizens accept the authority of elected leaders. Two, good governance, participal accountability, transparency, rule of law, participation. Good governance principle highlight accountability, transparency, rule of law, and participation as essential elements for evaluating democratic process. 3. Electoral integrity framework. The electoral integrity framework by Pipa Norris offers a comprehensive model for assessing election, covering aspects such as legal design, administration, media information, and dispute settlement. And last, comprehensive approach, legal rules, management, media, dispute, dispute resolution. This framework together provide a structured lens to study both the technical and political dimension that shape electoral quality. Okay, next. Okay, K challenge. Persons vote buying. Vote buying remains widespread and sorry. K challenge. One, persons vote buying. Vote buying remains widespread and reflect persistent clientist practice and weak enforcement. Two, coordinate in disinformation campaign. Disinformation campaign distort political debate and influence voters through misleading or false narrative. 3. Limited authority and research for oversight bodies. Oversight institutions often lack sufficient authority, resource, or independence, which limits their capacity to manage polling effectively. 4. Barriers for marginalized groups.
Marginalized communities also face barriers that restrict their participation. Okay, let's issue rooted in political culture and institutional capacity. These problems are areas from procedural weakness as well as deeper issues in political culture and institutional development. Next. Next slide. Okay. Thank you. Opportunities for improvement. Improvement. One, transparent digitalization of electoral process. Transparent digitalization of election producer can reduce administrative errors and enhance public trust. Two, stronger oversight of campaign financing. Stronger regulation and monitoring of campaign finance can limit influence from powerful actors. Three, collaboration between government, media, and civil society. Collaboration among government bodies, media institutions, and civil society can improve information accuracy and monitoring practice. For political education and digital literacy, especially for youth. Political education and digital literacy programs, especially for youth, can help citizens evaluate information critically and participate more effective. And last, holistic reforms towards inclusive and credible election. The opportunities show that inclusive and comprehensive reforms are required to achieve credible elections. Okay, next slide. Thank you. Case and studies and data. Bawaslu record more than 1,000 violating during the 2024 election, which indicated ongoing structural problems in electoral administration. International IDEA reports that more than 20% of elections globally face disputes regarding results, illustrating that concern over electoral integrity are widespread. Indonesia's 2024 corruption perception index score of 37 out of 100 suggests continue issues with governance and accountability. That data show that stronger institutions and transparent process are essential to maintaining public confidence in election outcomes. Next slide. Okay. Conclusion. Indonesia needs to enhance transparency, improve oversight mechanism, and expand meaningful public participation in order to strengthen electoral credibility. Effective reform requires cooperation among state institutions, civil society, and the broader public. The resilience of democracy rests on elections that are inclusive, transparent, and trusted by citizens. Maybe this is all I can say. I return it to the moderator. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to both presenters for the clear and insightful presentation. We will now move into the question and answer season, which will run for approximately 15 minutes. Before we begin, let me briefly outline the rules for this season. Questioner 1 will deliver two questions followed by questioner 2 with two additional questions. After each question, the presenters will respond academically and directly. Questioner 1 and questioner 2 may offer brief responses to each other's argument if needed. As the moderator, I will keep the discussions structured and within the allotted time. We will begin with questioner 1. Please present your first questions.
Okay, thank you, moderator. First, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Kustiani Dewi. With the last three digits of my student identification number 053, and the first question. Why do chronic problems such as vote buying and disinformation first, despite numbers reforms? And the second question, why are citizens increasingly discourageful of electronic outcomes and will benefit from this discourse? That all the question for me. Thank you.
Thank you, questioner 1. You may proceed with your second question. Presenter respond.
Okay. Thank you for the thoughtful question. I can see that many of you are genuinely curious about why these issues keep occurring, even though we constantly hear about reforms, improvements, and new regulation. Um, let me take this question on at a time, and I'll explain them not only from the technical perspective but also from the deeper social and political dynamic that shape them. And question one, why do you chronic problems such as false buying and misinformation persist despite numerous reforms? And thank you for this question. It touches the core of why our elections often feel like they repeat same problem years after years. Let me begin by saying this. People can change rules, but they cannot instantly change behavior, culture, and incentives. And that is real. A challenge disguise, firstly, like reforms that always reach the root causes. Many reforms focus on administration, updating regulation, improving procedures, and providing training. There are important, but they don't touch in. Uh, but they don't touch the deeper roots. And what are those roots? Like low levels of political education. When citizens don't when citizens don't fully understand how their vote shapes the future, how political manipulation works, and why governance matters, they become vulnerable. Imagine a future war received an envelope of money the night before the election. For someone struggling financially, that envelope is not corruption, but it's a survival. And why? Because the long-term consequence of Electing the wrong leader feel abstract, distant, and disconnected from daily life. So even when voters reforms look good on paper, with political literacy keeps the problem alive. And secondly, weak are inconsistent law enforcement. The second road is as enforcement. It's one thing to have a strict laws. It's another thing to implement them consistently. What the networks are sophisticated, money is distributed quickly, transaction happen in private home, intermediaries shield the main actors, and voters rarely report the violation because they also benefit. Meanwhile, this information spreads online faster than authorities can catch it. By the time fact checker respond, the hoax hustle already reached millions. So again, the problem is not the absence of rules, it's the imbalance between violence and enforcement capacity. And thirdly, economic inequality makes children vulnerable. Like this is one of the most powerful force in communication where economic insecurity is high. Political transactions start to look like economic opportunities for many families. Money for groceries today feels more urgent than promises of good governance tomorrow. This environment makes spot buying not only possible but effective. And until economic conditions improve, this vulnerability persists. And secondly, political actors still see this tactic as effective. Now let's discuss the political side. If vote buying didn't work, politicians will do it. If hawks didn't shape public opinion, political actors would spend money creating them. The harsh reality is these methods remain cost effective. They mobilize voters quickly and they target the most vulnerable groups with high precision. And digital technology has become a powerful amplifier. A single piece of disinformation, like a fake video, a fabricated plot, a doctored image, and can influence millions overnight. Algorithms push emotional content, not accurate content, and political actors know this. So the persistence of this problem isn't a mystery, but it's a reflection of incentivize the remain the power structures and political culture are resistant to change. Even when rules change, the underlying of man say tip social network manipulation have existed for decades. They how came are how recruit and how we negotiated. When from implement political actor benefit the old system adopt and continue using the same method. This is a more sophisticated ways. The structure is purpose of the surface, but the foundation remains untouched. So to summarize, what buying and disinformation persists because reforms don't address the roots like education and enforcement, inequality, political incentive, and cultural norms. Now let's move to the second question, which is closely connected. Um, in question two, says why are citizens increasingly distrustful of election and who benefits from this distrust? This is a crucial question because distrust is not just a feeling, but it's a threat to democratic stability. And let's unpack it step by step. Firstly, citizens have witnessed repeated case of fraud and irregularities. Even when official investigation uh, show no large-scale fraud, the perception remains every time there's mismanagement of balance. Related result, system failures, viral allegation, or unclear explanation. This moments stack up in the public memory. People don't forget. So even small mistakes accumulated into large distrust. And secondly, a lack of transparency for suspicion. When electoral bodies do not currently communicate how counting works, why delays happen, how complaints are handled, people begin to assume to the words. Silence become its own form of information, and in the absence of official explanation, speculation fills the gap. Transparency is not just technical, but it's psychological. People trust what they can see. And thirdly, social media prefers mistrust even without evidence. This is one of the biggest modern challenges. A single unfair claim can spread through WhatsApp group, TikTok clips, a Twitter thread, or Facebook videos. And suddenly, millions believe the election was manipulated even before results are finals. Emotion spread faster than facts. People share content that makes them angry, not content that makes them informed. This creates a digital echo chamber where suspects become truth. And fourthly, polarization makes everything feel like a conspiracy. In a polarized society, supporters of the losing candidates rarely accept defeat peacefully. They believe the system is unfair, the process was manipulated, or that the opposing camp must have cheated. This emotional reaction has become a global pattern, not just a local one. And here's the important part. Leaders play a hard role in shaping their perception. When leaders claim fraud without evidence, their supporters believe them. Trust collapses not because of facts, but because of narrative. So, who benefits from distrust? There are two major beneficiaries. Firstly, losing political actors. For losing candidate, alleging fraud becomes a political strategy. Even without proof, they can use accusation to maintain their base and avoid losing relevance. Legitimities the winner, pressure election administration, or position themselves from next election. This has become political capital. We've seen this in many countries like the US in 2020, Brazil in 2022, Kenya, Bolivia, Philippines, and others. In many cases, the accusation of threat becomes more powerful than any evidence. And secondly, groups that thrive in chaos. There are also actors who prefers instability, extremist group, radical movements, political opportunities, and even foreign interference networks. When people distrust their own government, institution weaken, polarization increases, extremist grows, and social cohesion erodes. For this group, this a way to stretch the political fabric until it tears. So to answer the question, it election because of a combination of experience, weak transparency, overwhelming misinformation, and emotional polarization. And who benefits? Primarily, the smallest election, because distrust gives them leverage, and secondly, groups that want instability because distrust weakens democracy from the inside. So if we want to restore trust, reform must go beyond technical fixes. We need stronger civic education, consistent law enforcement, transparent institution, and responsible leadership, and lastly, digital literacy that empowers citizens to resist manipulation. And everyone, just not created through regulation. It is created through credibility. Once lost, it is hard to restore, but through collective effort, it is still possible. Thank you for the question and thank you for listening.
Thank you. We will now move to questioner 2. Please deliver your 2 questions.
Okay, my name is Naila Songgrani, and here I would like to ask a few questions. My first question is, what specific action must be prioritized immediately to safeguard democratic legitimacy? My second question is, what will be the consequences of failing to reform electoral transparency and accountability now? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question, Naila. Here I will answer question number 1. The most urgent action is to strengthen transparency and accountability in the electoral process, especially through independent monitoring, real-time public access to election data, and strict enforcement of penalties for electoral violence. This includes empowering election oversight bodies, increasing digital transparency, such as open result tabulation system, and processing with whistleblower and election officials from political pressure. These steps are crucial to restore public trust and ensure the elections are credible and fair. Okay, I will answer question number 2. If reforms are not carried out immediately, the consequences might include deepening public distrust, escalating political polarization, and weakening the legitimacy of elected government. This could lead to voter apathy, increased conflict, and opportunities for authoritarian or anti-democratic actors to exploit chaos and undermine democratic institutions. Ultimately, the democratic system might lose its integrity, creating instability and long-term governance crisis. Maybe this is all I can say. I return to the moderator. Thank you so much, everyone.
From the question presented, we can see two major concerns regarding the state of democracy and the electoral governance. First, question number one highlighted the persistent nature of chronic electoral problems, specifically vote buying and disinformation. The question emphasized why these issues continue to exist despite ongoing reforms. The discussion showed that structural challenges such as economic inequality, weak law enforcement, low political literacy, and entrances political culture remain deeply rooted. These conditions allow manipulative practice to survive and evolve, especially with the acceleration of misinformation through digital technology. Second, questioner two raised a critical inquiry about growing public distrust in election outcomes and questions who ultimately benefit from this distrust. The responses reveal that declining trust is fueled by repeated allegations of fraud, lack of transparency, social media amplification, and political polarization. This distrust often benefits losing candidates or political groups seeking to delegitimize electoral institutions or create uncertainty to maintain their influence at a broader level. Such distrust weakens democratic stability and public confidence in governance. In summary, the question brought attention to two interconnected issues. Point one, the enduring structural weakness that allow electoral irregularities to persist, and point two, the degrowth rise of public distrust that threatens democratic legitimacy. These points collectively reinforce the need for stronger institutions, deeper political education, and comprehensive reforms to ensure elections that are trustworthy, transparent, transparent, and resistant to manipulation. Before we officially close, I would like to express my appreciation to both presenters for delivering a clear and insightful presentation, both questioners for offering critical and well formulated questions, all participants for your attention and engagement throughout the season. This seminar reinforces the value of academic discussion in deepening our understanding of complex public issues. Thank you very much for your participation. This seminar is now officially closed. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.